I've been in post now just coming 4 years. Some 4 weeks after I started in 2013, Falls of Shin burnt down. Really from that day to this day, I've been involved and been taking the project forward.
The most important things was to secure the site. So there was meetings with the landowners, and then the second thing was when it was organised that they could secure the site, was to identify where the funding would come from.
This majority of the funding came from Big Lottery's Growing Community Assets Fund. We progressed that through stage 1, and in the meantime we're also applying to HIE, Highland Council, Forestry Commission of big stakeholders, investors, SSE and various other funding bodies.
Our funds are about community benefit, so what is the benefit to the community, what had been lost, and the opportunity this would offer both in the way of employment, economic, tourism.
I think there was some concern in some circles that it may take business away from other businesses in the area.
I had very grave concerns, but what absolutely won me over, was not only the enthusiasm, the dynamism and the fact that they are community centred. They come back and showed that the vast majority of businesses said, on you go. We see this as additionality, not something that will displace us.
When we arrived on site, it was a completely clear site. All that was left was the original slab. It was very much Katrina from CH Architecture's concept, and then Katrina and I worked very closely together.
The Kyle Sutherland Development Trust approached me to see if I could help them come up with a concept for the new visitor centre right in the early days, almost 3 years ago. And from there it's just evolved and evolved.
It's a good one to be involved in. It's not just a standard box and pitch roof or whatever, you know. It's each stage was different. The building itself, as you can see, is obviously quite spectacular the way it's turned out. I think most of the credit deserves to go to Katrina and her backroom staff for the design of it.
So we started doing some original sketches, and someone looked over my shoulder as I was doing the sketches and said, "Doesn't that look like a fish?" And the idea really evolved from that moment, from an early sketch, that maybe we could do something that was loosely based on the concept of the fish. And what happened is it evolved into a tail, done by the fantastic Sam Barlow from Moorworks, the body, which is the timber walkway, and that's fabricated in Douglas fir, which was gifted by the Forestry Commission, and then the head of the building, which houses the cafe. And the focal point inside the cafe is the eye, which is the roof light. And on a lovely sunny day like today, if you're lucky, you can see it reflected in the polished concrete floor when you're inside the visitor centre.
This area across the years, well, one which started when the Dornoch Firth was bridged in 1989. This community lost a whole host of traffic that was coming in and around the Kyle of Sutherland. Then we suffered job losses overnight here when the fire happened at Falls of Shin.
It's been missed, you know, not just by local people, but there's tourism, the coaches coming up from the Invergordon with the cruise ships.
Well, it had been a very popular tour before, both to see the salmon and also to stop at the cafeteria and that sort of thing. So it was a major change in our business model to send people up to a beautiful part of Sutherland.
We only had to look at the number of tourist buses that turned up here in the winter, and in the years that we didn't have a place after the fire in 2013 to know that it is recognised as a place to come to and has been for many, many years.
This is actually very, very vital to sustain the North Coast 500. You don't want people coming up here and going back saying, "I couldn't get a sausage roll, I've driven for 2.5 hours."
We have a high unemployment rate here, we have a high fuel poverty rate here, and it's really important that we do what we can to reinvigorate the community that we live in.
It is absolutely key that you have a community who wants to work alongside you.
Everybody pulls together, the community and themselves. They share information, they share wins, and I think that makes a huge difference when people are trying to develop projects like this.
This morning we welcomed the 6 local primary schools on site, and they got involved in lots of different interactive activities, and they officially opened Falls of Shin as it stands today.
A lot of excitement, a lot of relief that the whole thing is, the project has come to an end for Helen and her whole team, who have worked very, very hard. All the grief and tears of all these last 4 years have come to a final conclusion.
This place had to be rebuilt. This place had to come back to life.
As a young boy, I was brought up to see the Falls of Shin, probably when I was about 5, 6, 7. and it's a real joy to be back here in later years as being part of a project such as this.
Well, I think this is a fantastic venture. It's absolutely superb. The location is beautiful, and it's a brilliant opportunity for local businesses to display and showcase their works. It's just going to go from success to success.
I think it's going to work for everybody, and it's such a beautiful area to come to, and it really just makes you appreciate nature and what we've got to work with in the Highlands.
The whole process was made easy by the people we had involved with the project, from architect to all the different subcontractors and down to our own labour as well, you know.
The Trust is going to leave a legacy. This is a legacy. Katrina, Valerie, the project manager, Willie Gray as our contractor, with special thought to our Kevin Lewis, who's been the site manager. We've all walked this journey together, and it's just been a wonderful feeling.